Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do an episode of Real Talk. Now, the last video I did was a couple facts about me. I'm not going to consider that an episode of Real Talk. I'm just going to consider that, you know, a video to get to know me a little bit better. So this week I thought I would do a video on about Real Talk, and for Real Talk, my subject that we're going to talk about is dress codes in school. I have been seeing a lot on Facebook about kids throughout the United States being sent home because of what they are wearing. One of them was really bizarre because it had to do with her hair color, which I don't understand how that is going to affect your education, or, you know, it's not going, you know, and hair color is not going to make the guys, you know, get all turned on, you know, it's ridiculous. There was one where a teenager had dyed her hair red, like when I first dyed my hair, like how red it was like that red. And she got sent home for it and had like a 3-month suspension or whatever. She couldn't go back to school until her hair could be dyed again a different color, which is ridiculous because as some people, especially women who like to dye their hair, they know that after you dye your hair, you have to leave your hair alone for a little while and let the hair dye, the color, fade away before you can do anything, especially when you have long hair and thick hair. It's, you know, going to take a couple months, and when you can't be in school because of that, I find that ridiculous, just utterly ridiculous. I don't care if there are dress codes about hair color. I mean, I do care, because what does that have to do with our education? Now, some things teenagers wear nowadays, I get, is a little inappropriate, especially for the teenage girls. Some stuff that's out there now is a teensy bit inappropriate. However, my issue is, why are we so focused on dress codes in school and not their education? Now, I understand there is a limit with letting them dress the way they want. However, we also have to teach the teenage boys to control their urges, to control their thoughts. Now, I understand when you graduate high school and you get into the real world, obviously certain jobs, there are dress codes. You have to wear a certain uniform, or you have to dress a certain way or look a certain way. So I get that. But they're in high school. As long as they're not superly being sexual with how they look, it shouldn't matter. They're there to learn. They're learn to educate themselves too, so that way they can get their diploma and they can get a job in the real world. And, you know, because women are going to be dealing with men looking at them inappropriate all their lives. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. They could be wearing, you know, the most ugliest clothes ever, and you could look homeless, and they're still going to be gawking at you because they're men. Now, I'm not saying men, you know, I'm not trying to blame men whatsoever, because there are men that can control themselves and their urges and their thoughts, you know, but there are men that think, oh, look at that, I want to have sex with her. Oops. Oh my goodness, I'm turned on. Now I need to go have sex or whatever. You know, so men have to control their urges the same way women have to learn how to dress when going out in public, especially for school. Now, I understand you're in high school, you want to dress the way you want to dress, you want to, you know, show everybody that you have parents that can afford to spend money on you and buy the, you know, the preppy clothes and the name brand clothes, and you look really, really skinny and whatever. Like, guess what? I don't care, because, you know, I dressed appropriately in high school. There were moments where there was stuff that I never dressed to the point where I got yelled at because of what I was wearing. But, except in middle school. That was because my skirt was a little too short. And I didn't realize that when I left the house. Yeah, that day was not fun in middle school. But that was middle school. High school, you get a little bit more leniency, but not much. There was another article that I saw where a teenager was wearing a type of shirt that they're not allowed to wear, like a tank top. But here's the kicker. She had a sweatshirt on over it, a zip-up sweatshirt like the Columbia I'm wearing. It was, you know, you could still see that she was wearing a shirt underneath it, but her arms were not showing. She wasn't going to take the sweatshirt off at all during school, and one of her teachers asked her to take it off so they could see what was underneath her sweatshirt, and she got in trouble because she was wearing a tank top. Well, let me tell you something. It shouldn't matter. She was wearing a sweatshirt. It's not like she was just wearing the tank top. If she was just wearing the tank top, that would be understandable. In my high school, you weren't necessarily allowed to wear tank tops, but I got around that rule because there was a really nice blue tank top that I had gotten from my friend because she couldn't wear it or didn't like it or something, or it was too small for her or something. So I was wearing it, and I had a blue long sleeve shirt. It was a little different shade of blue than the tank top, but I wore that blue shirt underneath the tank top. Never once got in trouble. There are some people in school that will purposely wear stuff that's against the dress code, won't get in trouble, and then you hear about the people who are covering themselves even though they are wearing a tank top, and they're getting in trouble. What is up with that? I think, you know, to be honest, you know, I think there are teachers that are biased or that just have grudges against certain students, so they will, you know, find ways to get that student in trouble. I'm not being mean to the teachers. However, you do hear about some of that stuff, you know, in the news. There was also another article I saw. There was this girl, I don't remember if she was in middle school or high school, but she comes from a family who is in the military or whatever, and I think if I remember correctly, it was her father was in the Navy or the Air Force, one of those two, and she was wearing a sweatshirt that had a really big logo with whatever branch her father was in, and she got in trouble for it because of how large the logo was. I'm sorry, but it's, you know, supporting the people who fight for our country. It's not like it's a monster logo or some other stupid type of logos that are on sweatshirts nowadays. It was supporting our troops and our Air Force and whatever, the Navy. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, you have to have a smaller logo on sweatshirts and jackets that you're going to be wearing in school, you know, during school hours. You can only wear bigger logo sweatshirts outside of school, like during like pep rallies and like well, maybe not pep rallies, but like football games, basketball games, you know, after school activities that are still part of the school, but they're after school. That to me makes no sense whatsoever. I don't find them distracting. Sometimes I find them amusing, but I don't find them distracting. It's not keeping me from my education. I don't understand some of these ridiculous, stupid, inconceivable dress codes in school. And then I see people commenting about uniforms, how we should go back to uniforms. Uniforms will only make things worse because teenage girls will be wearing skirts. And, you know, teenage boys, you know how they are. Skirts and teenage boys do not go together. Now, I'm not saying schools should totally get rid of skirts completely for teenage girls to be able to wear while in school. However, if you're gonna do uniform, you need to make it unisexual so that way it doesn't look sexy on the opposite sex. Because you see it happen all the time in movies and in TV shows where, you know, a teenage girl will be in her school uniform, whether she's in a private all-girls school or it's just a public school that has, you know, uniforms, so they don't have to deal with dress codes. And boys are automatically turned on because those teenage girls look sexy in their school uniforms. Now, seriously, I see a problem with that. We should not subject our children to school uniforms. Teach them to dress appropriately and teach them to focus on their damn education and teach them to, you know, control their thoughts. You know, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And the other thing with school uniforms is there are going to be students who are not going to approve of these uniforms and they will do anything necessary to rebel against it. And if you want to know what I mean by that, there is an episode of That's So Raven from Disney Channel where they get school uniforms and Raven wants to have the school protest and have them all glam up their uniforms. They're all still wearing their uniforms, but they're like glamming it up a bit. And only her and I don't remember their names, but the three girls that were after Raven, the head one, she was also a cheetah girl with Raven and the cheetah girls. So any of you who've ever watched That's So Raven or the Cheetah Girls, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And you probably know the episode that I'm talking about. But, you know, and then like the day after that, Raven showed up in her uniform, you know, without being all glammed up because she got in trouble. The first day with the uniforms. The second day with the uniforms, she came in wearing it regularly, and she left too soon before her mom could tell her to go change because they got rid of the uniforms and she was the only one in school with the uniform. So to me, I find it ridiculous. These dress codes are stupid. They're ridiculous. I understand we have to teach our children how to dress, but we also have to teach our children to control their thoughts, to control their urges, to focus on their education, and to not be objected as a sex object. You know, women are not sex objects. I don't look at a guy like a sex object. In high school, because the other thing with dress codes is guys are not supposed to be, you know, cutting their shirts, you know, all the way down the side, you know? And you can literally, like, see their torso. Like, there were some pretty hot guys in my school that I was actually in the same grade with. And, you know, but I would see that and I'm like, okay, how are they getting away with that? But us girls can't do this, we can't do that, we can't wear this, we can't do this. And it's ridiculous. They're getting away with it, yet we're the ones getting, you know, getting the, you know, attention of the administration and be like, here, you gotta be sent home because of what you're wearing. Like, screw that. Screw that. Let me continue my education. Tell everybody to mind their own business, to not look at me like a sex object, and move on. You know, I mean, I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, that was my rant. Probably a little longer than I wanted it to be, but in a way, I kind of don't care because it's frustrating. It really is, and I could probably go on and on and on about this, and partially I'd probably be, you know, repeating myself, but I don't care. So with that being said, this was about dress codes. And if you like this video, or if you agree with anything that I had said in this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you've ever gotten in trouble with the administration with what you were wearing, whether you were a guy or a girl, or what your thoughts about the dress codes are. And also, don't forget to subscribe so you know whenever I release a new video. And I will see you next week. Bye.